Welcome, everyone. This is the Finance Committee. It is Tuesday, July 14, 2026. It's 6:33, and I would like to call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under Mass General Law, Section 30A, Chapter 30A, Section 20F. This meeting is being recorded. On March 28th, 2025, Governor Healy signed into law a bill which extends the temporary provisions pertaining to open meeting law to June 30th, 2027. Specifically, this further extension allows for public bodies to continue to hold meetings remotely without a quorum of public body physically present and meeting location, and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. The language does not make any substantive changes to open meeting law, other than extending the expiration date of the temporary measures from March 31st, 2025 to June 30th, 2027. All right, well, welcome everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hi. So, good evening. So the first thing I need to do is just do a roll call of the members that are present. So let's see, we've got Nancy Stan Cross is here.
Here.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Elise,
Here.
Zach LeBrew,
Here.
Cindy Brown.
Here.
Let's see, who am I missing? I'm missing, so we have two new members we'll introduce. It's Tony Viveris, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Kathy, and Kathy Caton. Caton, did I
Hi,
say that right?
Kathy.
Caton? Great. And myself, Karen Rouse. So I think presently Gary Carrero is not present, and I have not seen Duncan yet. So
yeah, I'm here on the phone.
Right.
I can't get in on the meeting.
okay. Hi, Duncan. All right, great. Nancy, it'd be great if you could keep your camera on so we can all be visible here if you can. And I don't think you can, right, Duncan? You're not able to, right? Okay. Well, welcome
No, I
everyone.
can't.
So
I've got no meeting ID, and it's on a PDF, and I can't.
all right, we
Copy it,
got you.
so.
You're here, so that's great. All right, well, welcome. All right, so the first thing I want to do is welcome. We have two. I've lost my agenda here, so 1 second. So the first thing on the agenda is I'd like to welcome we have two new members. I'm the third member, so I just renewed for a 3-year term. And then we have Christopher Thrasher and Hugh Morton rolled off, their term ended June 30th. So we have two new members replacing those seats. And so I'd like to welcome Tony Viveris and Kathy. And I'd love for you guys to, if you don't mind, I'll put you in a hot seat right away. Just introduce yourself and maybe give us a little insight of what attracted you to want to join this wonderful committee. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm Kathy.
Go ahead, Kathy. You can go first.
I'm Kathy Caton. I used to work for the town of Stoughton. I dealt with FinCom a lot because I was the assessor in Stoughton, and I had to deal with my budget with FinCom. So I thought they were interesting then. When I was told there was a position available, I was like, okay, I'll try it.
All right. Well, welcome. We hope we meet your expectations.
Oh, well, keeps me busy.
Great. Thank you. And how about you, Tony? I think a few of us might know who you are, but
Yeah, some of you guys know me. For those who don't, I've been a Westport resident for, I think, 26 years now. I have a beautiful wife and 2 boys that are 21 and 23. Both went through the Westport schools. I was a school committee member for 13 years. I think I might have been chair maybe 5 of those years, not really sure. Been on several town committees, currently trying to wrap up the school building committee. And I was just walking down in Leeds one day, and somebody hit me over the head and told me I had to join the finance committee. So that's why I'm here with you wonderful people.
All right. Well, someone must have really hit you over the head.
Somebody hit me really hard over there.
They beat you up
No,
in
I-
aisle 5, yeah.
I've always enjoyed being involved, so this will just, keep me involved in what's going on in town. So
Great. Well,
I appreciate
welcome
the
to
chat.
both of you. Welcome to both of you.
Well,
All right.
I didn't say also I am a registrar and I had to go through the ethics committee to make sure I could be on the FinCom. But I filled out the paperwork, so I'm good now.
Great. And are you both sworn in? So are you, so you're both
Yes.
members? Okay. And then I think there's a conflict of interest training that you need to do as a new member, and then we all need to do one every year, but okay, so you're both sworn in, so this way you'll be able to vote on anything that we do tonight. Great. Okay. Okay. Well, so the first item, the next item on our agenda is our annual reorganization. And so every year we nominate a chair and then a vice chair for the upcoming year. So I have served as the chair this past year, and I would be happy to do it again if I'm welcome to do so. If anybody else wants to be chair, that's also, we can entertain that too.
Motion to elect Karen as the chair again? Do we have to make a motion for that?
You do, you have to vote on it.
I'll second that. Yeah.
Thanks. Any other discussion on that? All
None.
right. Thank you. Okay, I'll do it again. Here we go. All right, so so we have to do a roll call vote for that. So Duncan, I'll start with you.
Duncan Law, aye.
Thank you. Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Kathy,
Kathy Caton, aye.
Tony,
Aye, Tony Viveras.
Al,
Al Lee's aye.
Nancy,
I, Nancy Stanton Cross.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
and I think I can vote for myself, but Karen Rouse, I too. Thank you. All right, so now we have a vice chair. So again, Cindy has served as the vice chair. I don't know if Cindy would like to join again. I'd love to have her again, but if anybody wants to make a nomination for a vice chair.
I'll make a motion that Cindy be vice chair again.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Great. All right, Cindy, we got you hooked in again.
That's what you get for being on vacation.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
That's why
exactly
Gary's
right.
not here tonight, right? So
Thank
this way, great. All right. So
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll do a roll call again. All right, Duncan,
Duncan Law, aye.
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Kathy,
Kathy Caton, aye.
Tony,
Tony Viveras, aye.
Al,
Al Lee's aye.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross, aye.
Cindy,
I guess I'll vote in the affirmative. Cindy Brown, aye.
and Karen Rose, aye. All right, thank you. Well, thank you both. I appreciate.
Thank you.
I appreciate your confidence in me, so thank you again. All right, so the next item on our agenda is, this is a light meeting for us, so this is more administrative thing. So the next item is our committee and liaison assignments, and I can do a screen share to show what we have. Give me 1 second. All right, can we see that a little bit?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so we have committees. So all our committees have expired June 30th, 2026. So we have to, here we would make recommendations for our committee members to be reappointed to the committee. And then we present that information to the select board, who then would make the committee recommendations. So just to go through, Zach has been on the Energy Committee and the Tax Incentive Program Committee. Cindy is the FinCom rep on the Personnel Board. We also have Gary as a FinCom rep on the Personnel Board. We now have an open position for the CPC, since Hugh was that position before. I was the school building committee rep, but now we have Tony here, so we might want to swap that out a bit. Then we have Duncan was the Internet Advisory Committee and the Infrastructure Oversight Committee. And then Ali's on the Capital Improvement Planning Committee, and Nancy Stan Cross, I think the plan was for Nancy to join the Audit Committee this year as Cindy was rolling off. And then there was a long-term building committee, but I think the select board may have ended that committee, so I'm not sure we need to reappoint to that one. Cindy, does anybody know anything on that committee?
I believe that they have disbanded that committee.
Disbanded, okay, so we can,
Yeah.
we'll take that off our list. Okay. So the first question, so what I would suggest for our two new members to limit the amount of committees, because the first year is enough to absorb without also being on committees. So that would be a suggestion that I would have, to not worry yourselves about committees at the present time, except for Tony, who I would suggest I could roll off being the school committee FinCom rep, since Tony, you are the chair of that committee. Would you mind also serving as the FinCom rep?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay. This way, then I don't need to be on that committee as a duplicate. Okay. Is everyone else comfortable with the committees that they're currently on, willing to continue to serve on those?
I am.
I am. I'm not sure. There was a discussion about the Energy Committee possibly being dissolved, just as a heads up. I haven't heard back yet, but I know the select board is discussing it. So I'll keep you guys tuned for that.
Okay, well, we can ask for you to be reappointed, and if the select board then has disbanded, then they'll cancel that out.
Okay.
Nancy, are you okay going on to the audit committee for the new appointment? Did we lose Nancy?
No, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I had to let my dog in.
Oh, that's okay.
So yeah, I'm on the audit. That's fine.
Okay, great. Okay. So the one open position now is actually the CPC, and I actually haven't been on a committee forever since I've been the chair, and I wouldn't mind being on the CPC. Unless somebody.
Then I think you should take it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I would love to be on a committee. I have not been on a committee in so long. Okay. Okay, then that would take care of our committees. So I will send this list to the select board for their consideration and appointment.
Karen, who's on the school committee? Because I was on the school committee last year.
So those are our budget liaison assignments. So we're going to get to those right next, Duncan. So these are the committees. So I'm going to jump right down here. So now.
Yeah, the
So,
Internet Advisory Committee. The Internet Advisory Committee doesn't really have. There's nothing there.
And I think they may have been considering disbanding that one too. I'm not sure.
I think they did. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll if it's not disbanded, we can keep you on it. If it is disbanded, we'll update our list. So
That's fine.
I didn't get any word from the select board on what committees they may have discontinued. So okay. So now we have. So those are the committees. Now we have our own internal liaison assignments, and for our two new members too. So these are. Each department has a budget, and we assign a member of the finance committee to be a liaison to help coordinate discussion and scheduling of the budget, or if there's any questions. So there's not a lot of work other than to stay coordinated with your department. You're not actually preparing budgets or doing anything of that nature. So Al has a series of departments here. We now
Yeah,
have,
if I could weigh in quickly on
Sure.
mine, the accountant assessors town reports, which I really don't know what that is, and the town farm, which we have never met, they're extremely easy lifting. The accountant and the assessors in particular, they're very self-contained, they're very whatever, and their needs are very limited. So I'm happy to continue. Having said that, I'm also happy to give those up if somebody else or one of the two new members would like to be a liaison.
okay, great. Thanks, Al. So we'll go right down the list here. So the next ones either were previous members, so now they're open. Animal control, transfer station, board of health, reserve fund. And we split regional schools, I think, to not have too much in the schools with Junkin, because I think just being the school committee rep is quite a bit in and of itself, since that's such a large budget. Then we have Cindy, who has select board, town hall, streetlights, council on aging, commission on disabilities, and personnel board. Then we have Gary that has treasurer, cemetery, insurance, collector, highway, snow and ice, debt. These are simple ones, the long-term debt trust funds. Then we have another open series. I think this was Hugh had these, I think. Legal department, planning board, appeal board, police department, sealer of weights, parking tickets, and water enterprise. And then Nancy has veteran graves, veteran services, recreation, library, town beach, town clerk, election and registrar. And then I have IT, and then a series of insurance, what's unemployment, workers' comp, retirement, health insurance, life insurance, Medicare, and revenue. And then Zach has the building inspector, moderator, FinCom, conservation committee, and historical commission. So it's up for anybody, if anybody has anything in particular they want or to switch. An easy alternative is we have 2 open slots with open ones that our 2 new members can also fill those slots, and to make it easy. So it's really up to the committee and what everyone would like to do.
Karen, I'm open, whatever you guys think. I'm fine. I'll take whatever ones you want me to take.
All right, great. Go ahead, Zach. You've got your hand up.
Yeah, I've got some light lifting on my committees. I'd be open to taking on the Board of Health, just as offering that. But of course, if any of the new members want to take any of those open positions, first dibs.
And so I would just suggest, if someone wanted the Board of Health, I would suggest to also take the transfer station and animal control, because they're all done by the same department.
Understood.
I think it would be easier coordination for everybody.
I would keep them if nobody else wants them, but I would move the assessors, the accountant, the town report, town farm into the open category. And if nobody else wants it, I would be happy to take the police department.
Okay, so 1 second. So which ones were you guys are making this tough on me here. All right. So
yeah, I know
the
top 4.
The top 4. So you're saying let's put those into the open bin, right?
For now, I mean, unless.
Yep,
no,
okay, sure. All right.
So,
And you were
Karen,
saying- Yep.
that being said, the town reports and town farm we don't really get budgets for those.
No, and they're right. There's the
They're
They're
really
really-
part of the select board. They're really
Right.
part of the select board. I mean, they kind of fall under that same category. So, I mean, those two items should almost come under my town hall annex and board of selectmen. I mean, I've got streetlights. I mean, we didn't talk about the streetlight budget. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
so that's fine. I mean, yeah, just put those two, and that will just go part and parcel with the select board items.
Sure. And Al, you had said you would be interested in the police department.
Yes.
Okay, let's put you as just a name there. Okay.
And I would guess, Karen, I'm sorry to interrupt you, that under the police department is probably the parking tickets.
Yep, sure.
Interesting,
Well, that's
because actually the parking tickets is
Yeah.
really kind of funny. You know, the police department issues the parking tickets, but it's the select boards that collects them.
Okay.
So it's really kind of odd in that the parking clerk is okay. Gosh, now her name escapes me. The assistant to she's actually the parking clerk, and she collects the tickets.
Okay.
Let's go after the bigger ones first, and then I think these little ones we can fill in
Yeah.
pretty easily. All right, so I think that was Al, what you had with your thoughts. Okay, so Nancy, go ahead. You've got your hand up, so go ahead.
No, I was gonna offer to do police department because Al had the fire department in there. Part of big parts of the budget. So
Right,
if he wants to bring both, have at it. But that's why I was gonna offer, but he said that he wanted it, so I defer.
Okay.
Okay. Are you okay with doing two big budgets, Al?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Zach, would you be comfortable taking the whole slug of, I'm trying not to make you dizzy. So animal control, transfer station, and board of health? Take those three?
Sure. But again, like I said, for the new members, if anybody has interest, I would defer it to them.
Maybe we should lighten your load a little bit. And do you want to keep the building inspector, or are you okay taking more?
I do. I do want to take the building inspector.
Okay. All right, so you wouldn't mind adding three you'd be okay?
I think so.
Okay. Okay, so then, we can, split up anything that's open. So how about, so Tony, since you have some school connections, do you mind taking regional schools? Because that's Diamond, Bristol Ag,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah, no problem.
So we're gonna give Tony the reserve fund, which is really not much, and the regional schools, okay, and then let's see, then we have.
I know the assessor's budgets.
You know,
I was assessor. I did my budget in Stoughton, so
oh,
I can do the accountant and the assessor.
absolutely.
Oh, that'd be great.
And so then we just have, trying to see, we've got the planning board is really, there's not much to a legal department, so it's the planning board is, and then the water enterprise, so how about Tony for the planning board? I'm just making this up just so we can fill things up here.
That's fine. Yeah, whatever you think.
No rhyme or reason at this point, just sort of. Okay. All right. I think that fills everything up. All right. Okay, I'll recirculate this and then this way we'll have it for when it's budget time. Okay,
Okay.
anything, Nancy, did you have your hand back up or did I? Oh, okay, all right. It's hard when I'm sharing the screen because I can't really see you guys. All right, so I'm gonna unshare my screen. Okay. Okay, that takes care of item 2 on our agenda. All right,
Sorry,
so the
my
next
grandson
item,
just showed up.
so the
Okay,
next item
sorry.
was, oh, sorry, was someone talking?
No, I'm sorry. I said sorry for interrupting.
Oh, that's okay. So the next item I put on the agenda in case anyone wanted to go over anything. So, you know, as we went through the whole fiscal year in review, does anybody have any comments or suggestions or things we could do better or differently? Certainly, this is not the only time that we have to discuss it, but I wanted to just leave that open if there's any suggestions or things that we can do better or differently that would be helpful to know. I know some of the things we talked about at the last meeting is trying to coordinate. When we get in the budget season, we get in such a crunch and then we don't, sometimes topics are brought up, which are all very good topics, but then we're crunched for time to be able to then have that adequate discussion. So I think it's trying to coordinate with the select board and the town administrator on getting their timetable together and trying to figure out when we can have those sort of theoretical discussions earlier than when we're in the crunch of the budget season. So I actually ran into Chris when I went to get sworn in yesterday. And so he and I talked a little bit about that he's going to put together a schedule and to see where we can, you know, have that planning meeting together so we can raise anything else before the budget starts. So we're not in the season and then we're too crunched to do anything. So I know that was something we talked about at the last meeting. And Nancy's brought up some very good points to really further dig into. So we've got to come up with that time frame to be able to do that. So
Yeah, I just, you know, I know that, I think it was Hugh or Al that said at the last meeting, well, the select board is elected to do that. But just from sitting from my first year and looking at these budgets, everybody here comes in with a skill set. And there's nothing wrong with the finance committee making recommendations to tighten up things or do things a different way. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that we have union negotiations going on with all these different unions and different people and different times, and the right doesn't know what the left hand is doing is absurd. I don't see how recommendations for us of putting it before the select board, maybe you want to try to address this as a recommendation, because those are some of the things that we've seen. You know, we've seen these bylaws or these warrants come up and it's like, oh, well, we want to do this and we want to be able to, you know, give this for unions if in fact they're short on money. But what unions are we including? Like, what are we talking about? How does that work? Everybody's negotiating at different times. Who's negotiating? The school and the town side. One side doesn't see the other. They use different lawyers. And then we look at our legal expenses that are skyrocketing out of control. Who's picking up the phone and calling for an opinion when something happens? Like, where is the control within those committees in order to make sure that they're being respectful over the tax dollars that are being paid to pay those professionals? And I know a lot of times, and I've experienced it, oh, I'll just call legal and that'll be it. Well, how about a little bit of research maybe before we jump in and do that? And I just think that there's no guidelines. There's nothing for any committee chair to go by and say, hey, before we call legal, these are the steps that we're supposed to take before we get to there, instead of it's the first call. And I just think that as a finance committee, yeah, we're supposed to look at the budget, but I think making recommendations on things that we see that are potential problems, you know, the ambulance thing, I'll keep bringing it up all day long. I think that that is absurd. that we have people we don't bill, like we don't have a collection department, and I know that the chief is pursuing that. But those are the little things that we see along the way that well, what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna improve it? Are we gonna make a recommendation? What do we do? And it feels like you don't do anything. You make your recommendation, you question people, but that's it. So I'm not trying to be the select board. I'm just saying we get a lot of information, and if we can say, hey, this is what we have, they can take the ball and do whatever they want with it. So that was my thing.
No,
Yeah.
and that's all valid, and there's definitely the line between we're making recommendations to our residents at town meeting, but we're also here to serve as an advisory as well. So, you know, we can certainly make recommendations to the select board. It would be for them to implement them, not for us, but we absolutely should and be, you know, looking at everything and framing those recommendations. But
So Karen,
there's
should-
also the fine
Oh,
line,
sorry.
right? And
Sorry,
just
Zach.
both Tony and Nancy, you were on the school committee, right? The finance committee I would never, as a finance committee member, come into specific recommendations of how the school budget should operate, right? So I wouldn't say your class size should be this or what, you know. So there's a balance between making a recommendation, but not in too specific of a way.
I'm not
guess
talking
that
about how to run their departments. I'm
right.
talking about what we're spending money on as a
Right.
town and as taxpayers, which is legal, right?
Yep.
We're paying money for increases in contracts,
Right.
and who's negotiating that? That comes back to legal. I'm not talking about who's turning on the lights and who didn't
Right.
fix the computer.
Right.
It has nothing to do with that. So it can be painted in that manner, but it wasn't intended in that manner.
No,
It
and
is-
I was not at all implying that you were intending it. I was just
Well,
saying.
you know,
that
the kind
this-
of the, oh, we wouldn't want to be the select board. Well, okay, well, we can
Well-
continue to do this, or we can, I just see a lot of areas that we can help or make recommendations that we see. The capital improvement plan that we've talked about. I mean, we talked about developing a phase in of going to these departments and finding out what their needs are, and then trying to phase them in budget wise with the free cash so that we have a plan, and not not wait till it breaks, you know,
Mhm.
just things like that. That's it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I support your comments. Absolutely. Go ahead, Al. Sorry, I cut you off.
Actually, it was Zach. Zach is next.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
No worries. I think it's it's kind of to Nancy's point and what you've also mentioned, Karen. We're like the only department that makes a recommendation that's posted to the town on the warrant articles. And I can't recollect exactly how much time we have to review the warrant articles prior to them actually like becoming a warrant article that's being presented in front of the town. And I think that a lot of these topics that we may be able to use some of our skill sets on come through the warrant articles, right? Like that's what we vote on in the town. I'm curious how early they're starting to be developed, and maybe we could ask Chris or the select board that if they could put that in front of us a little bit earlier, or we could, even if there's only a few, especially ones that have a large impact, maybe that may help us have a little bit more time to assist in any way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them we don't even see, or they get added to the last minute, and I understand that happens, but they've got to be topics that are talked about or thought about early in the year, right? Because of the impact they have on the town.
Yeah, you're right, Zach. And were you a fly on the wall when I was talking to Chris yesterday?
No.
We were talking about that as well. And I think you're right. The timing of the warrant staying open to accept articles feels very late. So we don't even see sometimes a first draft of what the warrant articles are until very late. And we've been lucky the last few years. There has not been any controversial or significant ones but when they happen, we don't see them until mid-February or early March. And then we're really under the gun to really have our meetings and gather information. And so that's too tight of a timetable, I think, especially if you have something that's complicated. But you're right. If there could be more structure on the select board side of when the warrant articles would be finalized, or at least the list in final fashion, so then we would have them to be able to start working on. But absolutely.
And not to mention, the language is always confusing.
Yeah.
It is not straightforward language. And I understand why that has to be, right? But sometimes it takes some time to digest. It seems like we start in November and we kind of knock out the early, easy departments. Then as the warrants start to come, we're discussing the bigger budgets and the things that take more time to discuss. Whereas if we could know about the warrant or some of them like earlier in November, when we have kind of the more straightforward budgets, it would give us some time to digest or maybe do some more due diligence on what these warrant articles actually mean. And I mean, to me particularly, it's the language. Like I have to read them a few times and really try to, suss out what the point of them is,
I had forwarded a copy to Karen and to the town administrator a couple of months ago, an annual town meeting warrant from a town out in the Berkshires that I was visiting past June. And their warrant was very interesting in that every warrant article had all of the legalese type of wording. But in addition to that, they put a small summary underneath that in English. Basically, this is what a yes vote will mean. This in plain English. This is what will happen if you vote yes on this, and this is what will happen if you vote no. And it was just 3 or 4 lines, but at least it gave people an idea of what the impact was. And even when talking about it gave you an overall sense of what was different from the prior year. Like, is there anything significant? People just look at these numbers. We've been through the numbers. We've talked to the department heads, but the people sitting in the audience, put yourself in the seat of someone sitting there that isn't involved as much as any one of us may be. And they look at that and they go, well, I guess if they said it's okay, it's okay. But they really don't have good information to vote on, because a lot of it doesn't make sense, as you described, Zach. So even when it comes to some of the budgets, that if there was a significant change in one of the budgets, whether it be an increase or a decrease, that it's noted on there that this is what's happening. I mean, that's true transparency. I mean, that's really when you say that you're transparent as budget advisors. That's transparency, is when you tell people this is what's different and this is what it means if you vote yes or if you vote no. So maybe something along those lines we can get to a little bit better description, like you said, that to help people make a more informed decision.
I don't want to jump in front, but it just pertains to that. I think
You're cutting the lines there.
sorry, Al.
That's all right.
I jumped in front of Alex.
I think at the town meeting, there was probably 45 minutes spent discussing an article that was totally misunderstood, like what the purpose was. So to Cindy's point, like something simple, a yes is this and a no is that, could totally cut down and be more efficient at town meeting. Like totally missed the plot, right? Like someone thought it was asking for this and it was something completely different.
Yeah, that was the tax on the personal furnishings that
Right.
went on.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
That went
I
on.
remember it. My ears are still bleeding. So
Yes.
yeah, I remember it.
Because finally, Nancy, you went up to clarify and said, let's call this thing.
I couldn't handle
So-
it anymore. I just couldn't do
That's time we'll never get
Goodness.
back.
Call the question.
it. As we age up, time is precious. Can't be doing that.
Karen, I would, before I get cut off twice, I would suggest thinking about having a working session meeting with no agenda other than what we're discussing tonight. Putting together some kind of game plan, some kind of the major points that are here, and start working towards, these are all good suggestions. They really are. I mean, yes, the warrants are confusing. The lawyers make it confusing many times, but the idea of having, a layman's, underbelly, if you will, is makes perfect sense. Going through the thought process of expenditures, all these different things that we've been discussing, and present it to the select board and let them do with it as they want. But at least we've done our job to go beyond just looking at a department's budget, getting a 15-minute explanation, which has been going on for decades, so nobody's doing anything wrong, and not putting the pieces together, not looking at the long-term ramifications of what we're doing. We also know that there's always something that comes up. I mean, I remember Danny Baldwin had a last-minute hiccup last year with the elevator. Now there's 15 grand, not in the budget. Now, we had money in a reserve, don't misunderstand me, but that is something that you just can't anticipate. So I'm not, using that. That's a bad example. But I just think that if we just sat down at a Zoom for an hour and a half and put together a framework for more transparency and a better way to project and go through the thing. We've done a fair amount of that at CIPC, to be honest with you. So I mean, that it's not as though we're not doing it, but there could be a lot more, and there could be a lot more. And really, those are the two big ones. The rest of it is, the accountant. How much can I need 3 more reams of copy paper. Yeah, I mean that's not going to move the needle at all. Marine services, they're in constant need or want, I should say, of boats, replacing old ancient boats. And so anyway, without getting long-winded, I would suggest, if the group is interested, that we just have a BS session for about an hour sometime in, pick it, August, early September, before the budget season gets in, and start getting a framework that addresses a lot of the things that we've been discussing.
I think that's a great idea. I
Sounds good.
really do. Just having the conversation that we had in this brief time, what Zach brought up and Cindy with that, just that alone can considerably make a difference and a change for people, for transparency's sake, for, the expediency in the meeting. I mean, just those things. So I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah. Do we want to try in early September? Would we want to do in August, or
I think early September is good.
early
Anytime.
September is good?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
tanning to do.
Okay.
I have beach
Yeah.
obligations. Very serious beach obligations to attend to. I'm on the beach committee. I have to make sure they're doing their job.
Make sure
I
that
am.
they're
I'm on
There you go.
site, just so everybody knows I'm there watching everything.
As an aside, did I ever
Yeah.
say at one point, my bingo basket story? Now, this is not specifically for this group, but it's for the moderator. And I tried to get Steve to try it, and he looked at me like I had 3 heads. About 30 years ago, PBS did a radio interview with a moderator, I guess it was, and one somewhere else on the Cape. Question: what was the most innovative thing you did during your tenure? Because they were both retiring. One guy said, whatever, the guy on the vineyard said, I brought in a bingo basket. And he said, I was so sick and tired of people stacking the deck on, and then as soon as their article came up, that they would all leave. So what he did is he numbered every article and he got every number ball in the bingo basket and he'd spin the basket. And if you were lucky enough to be number one, well, then you could go. But I thought that was a great idea. If I were ever moderator, which I don't want to be, you're going to see a bingo basket.
Al, you have 3 heads.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right, so we'll, I just wanted to just make a comment too on the warrant. So I agree, it's super complicated, and I think our new town administrator this year started to make some strides on doing that. So he did, and I don't know if anybody got to see it, but it was really quickly done, but in a week before town meeting, so I don't think it got the throughput, but he did a really quick presentation of each warrant article, and just he really said this is what this article was, and he did it in very layman's terms. And so I think I'm hoping he'll also be expanding on the same thing that we're talking about, where maybe there can be that plain English version that's in the warrant that would be helpful, or maybe the select board maybe at the meeting, rather than just saying, here's Article 4, blah, 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 that someone explains that at town meeting, does that 3-sentence blurb. So I think all of those are great ideas. And I think Chris is already starting to work on some of those things too. But these are all great points to do. So if we want to do an early September, would we want to do this as part of our normal September monthly meeting, or would we want to have a different meeting, or what are we thinking? Usually our agendas, so just before you answer that question, and we've got 2 new members. So our normal kind of schedule that we hold is the second Tuesday of every month. This time of the year, we wouldn't have a meeting more than once a month, unless something important came up that would require it. A lot of times in August, we really don't have anything, so we would tend to skip that meeting. September and October usually are not that busy either. Those are the planning months for us. In November is usually not that busy either. But then once we get into December is when the budget is starting to, our first draft of the budget starting to come our way. And then in January, we're very busy. So we'll have a meeting every week on a Tuesday night in January. And then February, we could be every other week. It depends on, again, the schedule. But so we have a good period of time from September through November where we don't really have anything too big on the schedule, unless, of course, something happens and there's a special town meeting or something else comes up. So we've got a 3-month window where we don't have too much happening.
Karen, I would suggest the earlier the better, because I don't believe that this can be buttoned down in a 1.5 hour meeting, and it gives us October and November or November if need be to kind of fine tune it and get it to the select board before before we get into the crunch of the season.
So our normal meeting in September would be September 8th. Do we want to shoot for September 8th and try to put that on the schedule? And we can see when September comes, if we don't have much else on the schedule, then we've got plenty of time, or are we thinking a second meeting in September?
Zach has his hand up. He might
Go
have
ahead,
some
Zach.
input on.
Yeah, I would suggest, if everyone's in agreement, that we don't necessarily increase the number of meetings, but incorporate it into that meeting. And I just say that because I'd rather have a longer meeting, but not take up the evening, 2 evenings that month. I'd prefer a longer meeting. Like, once we're here, we're committed. Well, I'll go till whenever, right? I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
No,
That's good for me.
Yeah, that's good for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Maybe,
try-
maybe before that meeting, we could offer points of discussion from everybody's perspective. So we have a bullet point, not an agenda to kind of think of for ideas. And then I don't think we'll get them all accomplished, but maybe if we can do a couple of them and say, this is what we concentrate on and do this year. And then next year we work on fine tuning
Right.
it. Let's not try to climb Everest in one jump. Let's say, hey, and I really do like the warrant idea and the clarity of the warrant. I think that will have the most impact for town residents at this point in time. And we can still keep in mind those other things. But if we kind of just bullet point and then put those aside and concentrate on something, I think we can rate them and then just do it that way.
We need some guardrails, right?
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
We do.
Yeah, that's great. So maybe, you know, a week before the meeting, everyone can consolidate the bullet points, and then this way we can have them in advance to at least know what we're at least going to discuss. That'd be great. So,
Okay.
yeah. And then we'll see once September comes, we'll see, you know, we might be busy with other things, and then we'll figure out if we have to do a second meeting or something different. But
If we make a couple of things that get done and it helps everybody in town have a better experience at town meeting or whatever it is, then, you know, we've done something positive. So I think it's a great idea.
yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. All right, so that was our year in review kind of. So we talked through that. So next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. So we have minutes of April 21st, 2026, June 23rd, 2026. And then I listed on here May 5th, but that is the one that there was no meeting, but I will just make a scribble note that says there was no meeting. So we have 2 minutes to approve, April 21st and June 23rd.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion on those? And I think Kathy and Tony weren't here, so we're probably going to need to abstain. So any other discussion on those? No. All right. So I will do a roll call on those 2 minutes. Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Cindy,
Cindy Brown, aye.
Al,
Al Lee's aye.
Duncan, I think Duncan's still with
Duncan's on.
us.
Still on, but he's on mute. It looks like he's
Yeah.
on mute. Duncan, you're on
He's
mute on your
mute.
phone.
All right, let's get to Nancy
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
and Karen Rouse. I think that was our, let's see, 1, 2,
1, 2,
3.
3, 4, 5.
You got 5?
So we're
Okay.
okay. Yeah,
Good.
we got
Yeah.
5. So we're good. All right. All right. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. I have no correspondence to share. Next item was meeting schedule and topic. So I'll put together what our annual draft schedule is. This way our 2 new members can have that too. But again, the second Tuesday of the month is our traditional standing meeting. And then we sometimes have to play it by ear depending on what comes up.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
Yeah, let me just go through the agenda. So I have no topics within
Ooh,
48 hours. And so I've got nothing else. So yes, motion to adjourn.
The motion.
I will second that.
All right, perfect. I will do a roll call to end this meeting. Kathy,
Kathy Caton, aye.
Zach,
Zach LeBrew, aye.
Cindy,
Aye. Cindy Brown,
Al,
Al Lee's aye.
Duncan,
Still on mute.
Nancy,
Nancy Stanton Cross Eye.
Tony,
Tony, you're on mute too.
Tony, you're
you're on mute too.
Mute.
Tony
Thumbs up,
Vivera,
Tony.
All right, Karen Rouse, aye. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Have a good summer. If we don't have an August meeting, welcome new members. Thank you, everyone.